And then the lack of investment that's gone into the copper space and the demand side of things with electrification playing out in front of our eyes to present. I see us bringing in a partner. I see us doing a stream, allows for us to have a quick payback of 3.8 years. It's a 19-year mine life.
What I love to do is introduce the right people to the right people.
I assemble the smartest people I can think of or reach out to carry that conversation, and that's exactly what I've done today.
Please give my panel a round of applause. Welcome.
Okay, my next guest comes from the Lundin Group of companies, Mr. Adam Lundin. He's the CEO and president of Josemaria Resources, a high-grade copper gold exploration play in the Andes in Argentina. Enjoy. So I'm really excited to be joined by the CEO of Josemaria Resources, Adam Lundin. Adam, how you doing?
I'm great, Jay. Thanks for having me.
And you're in Geneva right now, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, now I want to dive into Josemaria today. I want to understand it better. I want my audience to hear the story from you. Most of the people that watch this show, that read my newsletter, they're pretty smart cookies, and have a lot of exposure to the precious metal sector. But not everybody does. We've got a lot of investors that wrote into the channel on the back of some of the stuff we do in health science or in the innovation sectors. And so for anybody, because if you're in the resource business, you know about the Lundin Group, right? You guys are legendary. So for anybody who isn't from this business, Adam, and isn't familiar with the Lundin Group, give us the elevator pitch. What makes the Lundin Group such a special group to work with?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think, Josemaria is the classic example of the Lundin Group, especially on the mining side. We've had a lot of wins throughout the years. My grandfather started the Lundin Group over 40 years ago, and we found our niche kind of in single asset companies. And so here you are with Josemaria. We finished a feasibility study. We have 7 million ounces of gold in reserves and 6.7 billion pounds of copper and 31 million ounces of silver. All in the reserve category. So I think this will be the biggest deposit that any conference we go to, and we're ready to start construction. If you look at the Lundin Group, and when I mentioned single asset vehicle companies, we've been in Argentina for a 30-year period. We had a single asset company called International Musto, which had the Alumbrera deposit, which we sold to Rio Algo. Then we had a single asset company called Argentina Gold, which made the Valadero discovery, which we sold to Homestake. And one of the most recent successes, where now we've added the building capability to the Lundin Group, is Lundin Gold, where we acquired Fruta del Norte and put that successfully into production. And all three of those have generated huge returns for shareholders. And Josemaria is at the stage where I think we're about to replicate that success as well and make big returns for all stakeholders involved.
Yeah, no, that's a tall order, and I want to jump into that. And just to follow up some of the comments you said about the Lundin Group, Adam, a legendary investor in this space, and one that most of my audience is familiar with is Rick Rule. He's been in the business for 30, 40 years and remained at the top of the game. And he made a comment to me the last time I had him on the show, where he's like, "Look, Jay, if I would have made 10 times more money and I would have worked 10 times less hard if I had only stuck with the top 3 or 4 names in the business." And I said, "Well, Rick, who are they?" And the first one he mentioned was Lucas Lundin. You guys really are at that top. And, everything I talk about at the show is when you're investing in this sector, especially the small cap sector, but even as you go up to the developers and producers, it's all about the management. You can cut out 95% of the risk in this business by finding the right groups and just following them. Really, it's that simple. Follow the smart money, follow the smart management. So, you're a young CEO in this business now, Adam. The Lundin Group has this legendary reputation. So from your perspective, what's that like operating as a CEO? Do you feel like you're operating in the shadow and you got the chip on your shoulder and you need to come out and prove yourself? Or do you feel like you're operating sort of from the shoulders of the giants before you?
Yeah, I feel, Rick Rule's a good family friend and one of few that invested in my grandfather and father and now I believe he's invested in a few of the companies me and my brothers are involved with as well. So I think when management and the family, the way we've made money is through plain vanilla equity. It's never, we didn't become comfortable by taking big management fees or big board fees. And so we've always been aligned with shareholders. And I think that bodes well for other shareholders who want to get involved as well. There's no difference. We don't have secret warrants or anything like that. So we're on a level playing field and always make big concentrated bets in the companies that we're involved with. And when it comes to, do I feel pressure now being the third generation of a successful natural resource business family? I don't, because the people I'm surrounded with, if you look at the board at Josemaria, it's the same. You know, my chairman's actually Heppenstall, and he worked with my grandfather and closely with my father, and we all have skin in the game. We all have shares. We all want to do what's best for the company, and we're all aligned through our shareholdings. And so, as long as you leave your ego at the door and focus on what's doing best for the corporation and shareholders, you're all going to come out better on the other side.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective, and I like the plain vanilla equity analogy you used in terms of how you're compensated. It's important to see that. Now, I want to jump in. We're going to jump into the details of Josemaria. Before we do, just give us the quick brief on your background prior to taking this role, Adam.
Yeah, for sure. So I was doing petroleum engineering at Montana Tech, and then went to BCIT, and then started in the back office at Odlum Brown in Vancouver, and wanted a little more action, and applied for some jobs in New York, and ended up at a very small broker in New York, and then joined a bigger Scandinavian brokerage firm called Pareto Securities. From there, I went into investment banking. They gave me the option to lead their London office, and so I did that. And then as I proved myself, I got tapped from the Lundin Group to come and run Filo Mining first, and felt like I kind of earned my stripes on the outside. Came in, ran Filo, and then as Josemaria evolved, and Jamie Beck, who was president of Filo, was very capable of running that vehicle, I moved over to Josemaria to lead the charge in what I'm doing today.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I'm actually also talking to Jamie today. Looking forward to it. Now, run us through the inception of Josemaria Resources.
So after Valadero or Argentina Gold, we sold that to Homestake, and that was, a friendly deal because Barrick went hostile. The group went and picked up a bunch of acreage on the Argentine and Chilean border, and that was in a vehicle called NGX. And NGX made 3 massive discoveries: Josemaria, Fiel del Sol, and Los Helados. And now all 3 of those deposits are in their own vehicles. And so they spun out all the shareholders, and now I'm in charge of Josemaria. And so this ground was staked in the early 2000s, and the discovery was made in 2005. And so it's been with the same party since the ground was staked and the discovery is made. So there's nothing that's sometimes it falls in between cracks when deposits change hands. We haven't lost sight of anything. Baseline studies are tip top, and we know the deposit better than anyone because we found it and took it this far.
Now, it's a copper gold deposit in Josemaria. What are you seeing in the market right now, Adam, that's either increasing or decreasing your conviction for copper gold demand?
I think, Jay, it's super nice being, I started out in a management job of Filo in 2017, and here we are in 2020, and I've been going through engineering studies. And a lot of the time, I've always used $3 copper, for example. And most of the time when one of you publish a PFS or your FS or PEA, that's been, the $3 price has been at a premium to where the spot price is. And so where we are today with Josemaria, using $18 silver, $3 copper, and $1,500 gold, and seeing the spot price trade significantly higher than all the prices we've used and assumed in our study, I think the backdrop for commodities is excellent. I think there's a lot of printing going, or we know there's a lot of printing going on, which bodes well for gold and the uncertainty. And then the lack of investment that's gone into the copper space and the demand side of things with electrification playing out in front of our eyes bodes even better. So super nice thing here today and seeing gold 25% above the price we've assumed in our study, and seeing copper close to 10% higher than we've assumed in our study. So I think the backdrop is the best I've had in my short career.
Okay, now you've recently financed. You guys raised about $30 million. Important for viewers to know, it was within pennies of today's share price. So, you can buy on the open market today, very similar valuation. What is your biggest challenge going to be over the next 12 months, Adam?
I'd say the biggest challenge that I see is these unpredicted challenges. It's an open pit. It's a simple build. There's nothing, it's all conventional what we're doing. We're in Argentina. We have access to groundwater. You have a country that wants to get mining going and that we have a good relationship with since we've been there for 30 years. Okay,
so talk to me about the deposit and your path to production.
So we have a very nice deposit. It's very homogeneous. It's open pit. The strip ratio is 1-to-1. We have a supergene material that's close to surface, which higher grade allows for us to have a quick payback of 3.8 years. It's a 19-year mine life. At the end of the 19 years, we're ending in inferred mineralization. And when you have everything up and built, I believe, we're going to extend that mine life. The overall grade is moderate. It's 0.3% copper, 0.22 grams a ton gold. And so to get the production profile we want, which is 131,000 tons copper, 230,000 ounces gold, and over 1 million ounces of silver, we have a big throughput of 150,000, design throughput of 150,000 tons per day.
Okay.
And so that gets us to our CapEx of $3 billion.
Okay.
And as I've explained, owning it, I'm just leading on here, guessing the next question is how do you finance it?
Let's go there. Absolutely.
So I think, and we're prepared, right? The PFS, the numbers are similar, the deposit stays in the same place. The CapEx is do a good rule of thumb, 150,000 tons for every ton of capacity times by 20,000 US, and you're going to get near your CapEx on these type of projects. So coming in at $3 billion as we anticipated, and owning 100%, I see us bringing in a partner. I see us doing a stream and avoiding as much equity dilution as we can. And so I see, I don't know if partnership or stream goes first, but one or the other. We want to maintain an operatorship, so we're open to selling, 15 to 35% of the deposit, and then we don't want to sell any of the copper forward. I think with a 230,000 ounce gold deposit for 19 years and over 1 million ounces of silver, you're going to be able to bring in well over $1 billion in capital, which is going to help with our CapEx.
Okay, and then touch on the timeline for me.
Yeah, sorry, Jay. So the timeline, FS feasibility study just came out about 3 weeks ago. We will kick off basic engineering in 2021, and we'll also start the permitting process. We'll submit our environmental social impact assessment in Q1. And then we'll continue. We kind of just popped our heads back up after finishing the feasibility study and engaging with people who found our project interesting and want to get involved in a big gold copper producing asset. So we'll start talking with potential partnerships as well.
Got it. Okay. Now, there's a heavy focus these days on geopolitical risk. You could look at Argentina and say it's had a volatile past. Maybe it's unpredictable. What do you have to say, Adam, to investors who would have concerns about operating and building a mine in Argentina?
I'd say, look at the group, look at the board. This is where we're comfortable. This is where we'd like to be. I think going where there's not a lot of other parties gives you direct access to dialogue with authorities and the government, and there's not a big queue. After we finish the feasibility study, the San Juan, the governor, sends a message, congrats on the study, that looks great. I think if I was in any province in Canada, I wouldn't be receiving a message from a premier, So I think, your table and your peers around you are very limited. So the dialogue you get is great. And then also Argentina has a possibility, and they know it too, to be the shining light of South America. You have the Constitution reopened in Chile. You have Peru. I think they've just gone through 3 presidents in 3 weeks. And here you are with Argentina, blessed country geologically, natural resources, agriculture, and they're in their third year of a running recession. And so they want to improve. And I believe they have the right governor at the provincial level and right president at the federal level to come out of this very strong.
And you made a comment to me when we were catching up last week about essentially saying Argentina is not Argentina, right? It's very provincial in the way that it's regulated. And there's upside and downside depending on where in the country you are. Knowing that difference is a key ingredient to success. So run that back for us a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, Jay. Yeah, that was a good catch up we had. And what I was alluding to was, the 23 provinces in Argentina. We're in San Juan. We've been there since we made the biggest gold discovery in the country, which was Valadero, and we haven't left. And seeing that, okay, we sold to Friendly Deal with Homestake. Most people, they sell and it's sayonara. I'm on to the next thing. It's like, we've had such a good experience. Let's go and stake some ground and try and do it again. And that's what we're doing. And so also on the permitting side, majority of your permits come from the provincial authorities. They wield a lot of power, and we're very happy to be in San Juan. I think, if you look at Mendoza, obviously very well known for their wine, but also very anti-mining, and also Pan American Silver has a great deposit called Navidad in Chubut, but again, not open to mining. So it's very dependent where you are in the country, and being in San Juan is a great place. And
you guys have a rich history. I mean, the Lundin Group, you date back at least 20 years, if not longer, I suppose. But those connections have to come in. I mean, your network, your advisory board, hypercritical in this business to get anything done, getting it done on budget, on time, et cetera. Okay, so I'd like you to touch on your cap table a little bit for anybody who's curious. Let's start with any cornerstone investors, Adam, anybody worth mentioning?
Yeah, so 300 million shares outstanding. The family's the biggest shareholder. I believe we own roughly 36% of the company today. Board and management outside the family own roughly 5%. We've had great UK institutional shareholders that have been with us for a very long time. And then, we have, the brokerage firms out of Vancouver, the team at Haywood and the brokers there have been very supportive and very happy. I'd say, our free float is probably around 40% of the shares outstanding.
Okay, got it. And, we touched on, you did recently complete a financing, but what's your present cash position?
Yeah, so we raised a 31.5 million. We released our quarter last Friday. I believe I'm sitting with around 12 million Canadian.
Okay, got it. Okay, look, Adam, it's been awesome catching up with you and hearing the story from you, as we're searching for our next gold position. Josemaria strikes me as, the right management team with the right tailwind behind your deposit in a jurisdiction you're very familiar with, very reasonable valuation. And, I think it's worth a hard look. So I'm really appreciative of you coming on the show today and sharing this story with my audience. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Jay. Really appreciate it.